Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between green hills and flowing rivers, there lived a young boy named Rohan. He was 10 years old. With bright eyes full of dreams and a heart that carried both hope and sorrow. Rohan lived with his widowed mother, Kamla, in a tiny mud house at the edge of the village. Kamla worked hard every day, washing clothes for the wealthy families in the village. Her hands were rough and tired, but her love for Rohan never wavered. They had very little, but they had each other, and that was enough to keep them smiling through the hardest days. Every morning, Rohan would wake up before sunrise to help his mother. His most important job was to take their old buffalo, Gauri, to the riverside for grazing. In the evening, he would milk Gauri and carefully carry the precious milk home in a clay pot. This milk was their treasure. Kamla would sell half of it in the market to buy rice and lentils, and they would use the other half for their own meals. One sunny morning, Kamla called Rohan to her side. "My dear child," she said with gentle eyes, "today is the village fair. I want you to take this milk to the market and sell it for a good price. With that money, we can buy you a new shirt and some sweets. You have worked so hard, and you deserve something special." Rohan's face lit up with joy. He had never owned a new shirt. His current clothes were patched and faded, passed down from other village children. The thought of wearing something new and eating sweet jalebis made his heart dance with happiness. He carefully filled the clay pot with fresh milk, covered it with a clean cloth, and placed it in a woven basket. Kamla kissed his forehead and said, "Walk carefully, my son. Don't run, and watch your step. This milk is our fortune for today." "I will, mother." "Don't worry," Rohan said confidently and began his journey to the market. As he walked along the dusty village path, Rohan's mind wandered into beautiful dreams. He imagined himself wearing a bright blue shirt, standing tall among his friends. He could almost taste the sweet, crispy jalebis melting in his mouth. Perhaps he would even buy a small toy, a wooden spinning top that he had seen in the market many times but could never afford. Lost in these wonderful thoughts, Rohan began walking faster. His steps became quicker, and his excitement grew with each moment. He barely noticed the rocky path beneath his feet, or the tree roots crossing his way. Suddenly, his foot caught on a large stone hidden in the dust. Rohan stumbled forward, trying desperately to balance himself. The basket tilted, the pot slipped, and before he could do anything, it fell to the ground with a loud crash. The clay pot shattered into pieces. The white milk spread across the dry earth, forming a small river that slowly disappeared into the soil. Rohan stood frozen, staring at the broken pot and the spilled milk. His dreams of the new shirt, the jalebis, and the wooden top vanished in that single moment. Tears filled his eyes. He fell to his knees and began to cry. "No, no, no," he sobbed. "What have I done? Mother worked so hard. How will I face her? What will we eat? I am so foolish." He tried to gather the milk with his hands, but it was useless. The earth had already drunk it all. Rohan sat there on the path, crying bitterly, his tears mixing with the dust. He felt like the most unfortunate boy in the world. His carelessness had cost them everything. Time passed, but Rohan could not move. He was drowning in regret and shame. Just then, an old man walking with a wooden staff approached him. The man had a long white beard, kind eyes, and a peaceful smile. His name was Madhav, and he was known throughout the region as a wise soul who had traveled far and wide, learning the lessons of life. "Why are you crying, young boy?" Madhav asked gently, sitting down beside Rohan. Through his tears, Rohan told him everything, about his mother's hard work, the precious milk, his careless mistake, and his shattered dreams. Madhav listened quietly, nodding with understanding. When Rohan finished, the old man placed a warm hand on his shoulder. "Tell me, child," Madhav said softly, "how long will you sit here crying over this spilled milk?" Rohan looked up, confused. "But I lost everything. My mother will be so disappointed. We have nothing now." Madhav smiled kindly. "I understand your pain, dear boy. But answer me this, will your tears bring the milk back? Will your crying fix the broken pot? Will sitting here change what has already happened? Rohan shook his head slowly. No, he whispered. Exactly? Madhav continued. What has happened has happened. The milk is gone, and no amount of crying will return it. But you still have something very precious. You have this present moment, and you have the power to choose what to do next. Rohan wiped his tears, listening carefully. Life is like this spilled milk, my child, the old man explained. Sometimes we lose things. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes our dreams break like this clay pot. But the true test of our character is not whether we fall. Everyone falls. The real test is whether we have the courage to stand up again. Madhav pointed to the sun moving across the sky. Look, half the day is still left. You are young and strong. You have learned an important lesson about walking carefully. Now, what will you do with the rest of your day? Will you sit here in sorrow? Or will you stand up and find a new way forward? Something shifted in Rohan's heart. He looked at the broken pieces of the pot, then at his own hands, still young and capable. But what can I do now? I have nothing to sell. Then work, Madhav said simply. Look around. People always need help. You can carry water, help merchants load their goods, assist farmers with their harvest. Where there is will, there is always a way. A small spark of hope ignited in Rohan's chest. He stood up, his tears drying in the warm breeze. You're right, he said with growing determination. Crying won't help my mother. Action will. Madhav smiled broadly. That's the spirit. Remember? Child, don't cry over spilled milk. Learn from it and move forward. Rohan thanked the wise old man and hurried to the market with renewed energy. He found a fruit seller struggling with heavy baskets and offered to help. He carried goods for shopkeepers, cleaned vegetable stalls, and worked tirelessly until sunset. By evening, Rohan had earned enough coins to buy rice, lentils, and even a small packet of jaggery. It wasn't the new shirt or jalabis he had dreamed of, but it was something his mother needed. When he reached home, Kamla saw the determination in his eyes instead of the milk in his hands. When Rohan told her everything, his mistake, his tears, the wise man's words, and his hard work, she hugged him tightly. I am proud of you, my son, she said with tears of joy. You learned that falling is not failure. Staying down is. You chose to rise. From that day forward, Rohan carried Madhav's wisdom in his heart. Whenever life presented difficulties or losses, he remembered the spilled milk and chose action over sorrow, hope over regret, and courage over despair. Years later, Rohan became a successful merchant. But he never forgot the broken pot and the dusty road where he learned life's greatest lesson. Don't cry over losses, learn from them, and move forward.